Set Apart International was birthed for the preservation of young people who are tomorrow's leaders today. They are work in progress to becoming the great people that God has called them to in their different areas of purpose, and it begins today. The birthing of Set Apart really was to bring about agents of positive change, to take people and begin to introduce them to their full potential until they become all that God has called them to be. I believe that when people have discovered their full potential, they become unstoppable. Every platform where they stand, they begin to speak differently. Many young people are lost in their ways because they've heard the wrong things too many times until they believed it. When we can release a generation into this world who speak in alignment to God's word, then there are more people hearing the truth and ultimately believing the truth. The vision of Set Apart is to help people discover, develop, and unleash their full God-given potential and to become agents of positive change to the glory of God. Our greatest role that we are performing in this vision is the preservation of young people. You can never preserve an individual without accountability. And so our whole structure of mentors and having people account to someone ultimately results in the preservation of every individual. So the structures that we have really are that as every mentee is journeying with a mentor, they have to be accountable for their growth through a very deliberate and consistent relationship. One of our pillars at Set Apart is process, and something that we believe very, very strongly in that we don't believe that lives make a turnaround overnight. We believe that the promise is instant and is available to us immediately, but every time that we begin to walk towards a promise, that in itself is called a process. And so as every mentee does process, they are always going to be answerable for their lives, and it is where the whole preservation aspect comes in. We've been on a journey of growth. What has been so incredible is that God began by giving me a promise. It was a promise of generational change, one where young people would have a total mind shift and transformation, where things that seem very normal, like fornication, clubbing, partying, would now become very unusual to the youths. Something that God promised us, a promise we've held on to. And I'll say that in as much as we can talk about the next 5 to 10 years, every year that we have journeyed on this great experience or vision has been one where we've seen the unfolding of this promise. We've read of bars and nightclubs closing because they just didn't have enough patronage anymore. For us, that is really a fulfillment of that promise. And every time that we see young people coming together in their thousands, for me, what it really means is that it is a repositioning and a fulfillment of God's promise that He made to us 7 years ago.